Okay, now we're going to get on to the what we're here for, and that is for the graduation of Leadership Sandpoint. I'm very proud that I am in this class that is graduating today, and the program falls under the Chamber auspices, and it truly is near and dear to my heart because I think leadership is extremely important, from youth all the way up, and just because you sign a paycheck does not mean you're a leader. And I've had many discussions about that, and because you're in authority, it does not mean you're a leader. A leader is someone who people will gladly follow, and that has the trust and inspires those who will follow them. First of all, what we'd like to do is Mr. Justin Dick is in my class as well, and he's also a member of the Sandpoint Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. And Justin took on the task of forming an alumni association for Leadership Sandpoint, which we are trying to get all the names from past classes above, beyond, let's see, from 2005 current, we have a database, but above that, we know that there are some from 1993. We have no idea. We don't have the records, we don't know what happened to them. And so we're slowly gathering. If you know people who have graduated from 1993 through 2004, please let us know, email Mac, because it could become much bigger than, and I know that many people would like to participate. So one of my visions is to have a class, as they taught at Gonzaga, on how to be on a board of directors. So if someone like Mandy calls and says, I really need this type of person for my board, we'll have a database of people who've gone through this training, and we can say, oh great, Jim Zuberbuehler is the person that you need, and he's looking for that type of board. So we're kind of expanding things. But anyway, Justin, come on up.
Well, thank you, everybody. It's good to see some of my classmates from our leadership class that I haven't seen in quite some time. I'll briefly dovetail on what Kate said. We've started, part of our class project, or our legacy project for our class, was to create a leadership alumni program. These leadership alumni programs exist in larger programs across the country. They help maintain everybody, or they keep everybody in contact, as well as work on continuing community education, as well as start to move some of the leadership participants into board positions in the profit and nonprofit sector. Again, we are in the process right now of selecting next year's class. If anyone's interested, or anyone knows somebody that might be interested, please get with Mac at the Chamber, Kate, or myself, and we'll move forward with trying to get these people in here. It is a wonderful program, extremely valuable. I really enjoyed my last 2 years working with everybody and excuse me, and facilitating the class for the incoming class as well. So we've had a wonderful time. We've raised a lot of money. This year's class thoroughly whooped us in terms of raising money, and we were very excited to see that. So we hope you know some more people, and please get that information to us. Thank you very much.
Right, thoroughly whooped. I think our class raised $15,000, and then what did your class raise?
You had 11 grand in cash. We had 17 in cash,
oh,
and
right.
soon to be 19.
Right. Okay. So see, he's in this class. So, and I remember Kenwood saying to me, "Ha ha, we beat you," and I said, "Ha ha, that was my plan." So actually, Justin brought up, made me think about something. How many of you know what Leadership Sandpoint is and what the class does? Okay. For those of you who don't know, it does not make you a leader. That is a misnomer. If you come into the class, you won't learn how to be a leader. You will be able to supplement your leadership skills, and what we do is the people who apply, they're already identified leaders in the community, but one day a month, usually it's always been on a Wednesday, but we can change it to any day, but it's in the entire day. You'll learn about one other facet in the community. One day it's dedicated to nonprofits, one day it's dedicated to economic drivers. There are 9 classes in all. And then the second year, you are required to be a facilitator. So you don't graduate until 2 years have gone by. And it's really amazing, and even though I've lived here for over 20 years, when I went through the class, because I wanted to take the class when I started at the Chamber, I kept saying, I had no idea that was here, or I had no idea that we did this here. You know, finding out businesses like, Cygnus, who works directly with the aerospace industry. It was the most fascinating tour that we had. And so it's a remarkable program that really does enhance your leadership skills. And I tell everybody, and they know this because I told them a lot, once you know these things, you cannot not unknow them. And if you find something that interests you, then you better get on it and you better participate, because this is your community. And as a leader, you are no longer allowed to sit back. Because, and as Marcia can attest, every time a big hot topic comes up and then it's going to be at a city council meeting, no one shows up. So my first question always when people complain about things is, are you doing something? Have you gone to the city council meetings? Have you talked about your feelings about this? And most times it's, well, no, So again, when you're a leader, you have a responsibility to your community. And on that note, I'm going to hand the microphone over to our class's illustrious president, Mr. Jim Zuberbuehler, who will talk a bit about leadership or something. I'm sure fascinating. How to make a Rice Krispie treat thing. Right.
There's nothing on fundraising.
Thanks, Kate. One of the things that I think is remarkable about Sandpoint's leadership program is that typically programs don't exist in towns this small. To expect to have one in Seattle, a Portland, even a Spokane, is normal. And in fact, Coeur d'Alene has a thriving leadership program. But to have one in a community this size is very unusual. I've never seen a community this size have a robust leadership program. And I think it's a real testament to the community that we have in the greater Sandpoint area that this program exists. So our class was really a very special experience, I think, for all of us. We seemed to click right away. We had 16 of us start the program. Virtually all of us completed the program. We had 2 people move from the area, and we only had 1 person who sort of faded toward the end of the program. And so that was really wonderful, in that we just happened to have a great group that really got organized very quickly. We are very thankful to the previous class, who did an excellent job of facilitating the program for us, because as Kate inferred, it is a self-sustaining program. One participates for a year, and then one facilitates the next class for a year, which is another great quality about leadership programs. So we had this great group come together. Again, the previous class did a great job because Leadership Sandpoint took a hiatus for a year. And we think a lot of that had to do with the state of the economy. A number of us, I know that Justin and perhaps Anita, a couple of us had actually signed up for the previous year, and then it didn't come to pass. So the previous class really gets a lot of credit for sticking it out for an additional year, and they happen to have had a relatively high attrition rate because people just happened to move in that 2008, 2009 time frame. So we thoroughly enjoyed it. We also felt a responsibility, because of that hiatus, to really try to raise the bar and reinvigorate this program. And so we set about doing that in a number of ways. First, we thought it was really important to pick a couple of projects that our class could come together to deliver that would have a sustained impact on our community. So we spent a lot of time thinking about what kind of category of things could we do, and we ended up deciding to do things that focused on poverty. So we set a goal of raising funds to give to the Circle's Anti-Poverty Initiative. We also wanted to have an impact on Blue Haven House through some actual dollars put into the renovation, as well as, I believe, Eric Donenfeld coordinated our Blue Haven renovation. I think that we had about 500 volunteer hours that we put in as a class over the course of about 3 weekends last summer, which was really a fun experience for all of us. So we did have an impact on Circles. We wrote a check for $5,000 to them, had this great experience with Blue Haven. We also really focused on picking up the good work that had been done the year before with the youth leadership program, which to a great degree mirrors the adult program. So we put a lot of effort into trying to think, how can we develop an application-based youth program that's really going to complement what we're doing as adults. And I think that Mike Church, who did end up moving from the area earlier this past fall, gets a great deal of credit for structuring that youth leadership program in a way that was really meaningful. And I'd also like to specifically recognize Kathy Weiss, and I don't think Diana Cartwright is here today, but the two of them picked up the ball when they didn't expect to do that, and really did a great job with delivering that youth leadership program. But it's really hard to actually single people out because our entire class contributed. Justin in our class volunteered the use of Trinity for our Cinco de Mayo fundraiser, which has now been replicated by the following class, and we're hopeful now that that's a tradition. Justin also helped organize a couple of other fundraisers, including the one that was just referenced for the boat show. This weekend we did that as well. And as you're starting to see, we've tried to build a sustainable program where each class builds on the work that the previous class did, and then take on new projects. For instance, this current class has done a great job with the Northside Elementary School, going in and completely rebuilding the garden there, all the raised beds, expanding it substantially, and really contributing to that school's program. So we're hopeful that our class has had a meaningful impact. We've been yucking it up for almost a year now about throwing down the gauntlet to the current class in terms of fundraising and taking on this challenge, and they readily accepted that and have really delivered on that. But it really isn't just about the money. It's about awareness raising, in our case for poverty, and we'll see what other classes do in the future. But I think that what Justin described is probably the biggest legacy that we will leave, and that's the development of this strong, robust alumni program. So this isn't something you just participate in for 2 years. You're part of an ongoing program as an alum. And so any of you in here, in fact, let's ask, how many graduates of Leadership Sandpoint do we have in the room? Okay, a goodly number. And how many current participants, people participating in the current class? Great. So probably a third of the room has either been through the program or is currently in the program. And I would hope that in a couple of years that half the room has participated, because it's a very worthwhile program to be a part of. So I'll just leave you with, if you're contacted by Justin or any of the rest of us, if you're an alum of the program, please participate in some meaningful way with this. I think we're having an outsized impact on our community, and I want to thank the members of my class for just a great year. I also suggest that anyone who participates in the future, during that second or third meeting, when it's time to elect officers, don't go to the men's room while they're electing officers. It's a sure way to be elected president. Thank you.
Was elected, and we are not ashamed of that at all, because he was up and we all said, hey, Jim's not here, let's do that. That's a good idea. And Eric, if you'll stand up, when you see, if there's an event and you see people wearing this t-shirt, those are leadership alumni. We're very proud of that, because you got to have a t-shirt, right? And thank you for wearing it, Eric.
Where's your t-shirt?
It's at home. I didn't get home till late. And also, as an employer, I really highly encourage you to think about your employees who would benefit from this, because in the end, you will benefit as an employer if you have someone who's strong in the community. And it's $325. That may seem like a lot, but when I went through Spokane's, they paid almost $3,000 for me to go through. So we tried to really think about what would be a good cost. And with this, it's self-sustaining, so with this funds, that's where, if we have to rent a bus to go, like we went out to Encoder, then that's what we use the funds for. We use funds for lunches. We try to be very fiscally responsible with all the money that we do get. And so we thought $325 was a reasonable amount for people to pay. We are hoping that, we can offer a scholarship if there's someone who really wants to be a part of the class. And would add value to the class, then we certainly will try to make a way that they can participate, because we don't want to exclude